What's good, everybody? It's been a minute since we've been out of the loop, everything. But we're glad to be back. Talk about basketball. Talk about NBA. Starting to pack up. WNBA about to wrap up. The world of college basketball right around the corner here in the sports spectrum. D-Lock, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, man. My Bullets did their thing, man. So I'm super hyped right now. Now my Madden need to follow suit coming up with this season coming up with all of Van Carroll. So hopefully we can do something special for the men.
Well, hopefully this team right here, the LA Lakers, do something good this year because my Tennessee Titans ain't doing jack crap at all. So we'll see. We'll see. You know, the Lakers, we'll see how they do. Your Magic, I'm really high on them. We'll talk about them more later on the show here tonight. Anything you want to talk about specifically tonight while we back on the live and airways?
I mean, there's a couple of things that we want to definitely cover. I definitely want to talk about Carlton Towns getting moved to New York. I think that is a huge move. I think that's going to be a big deal. Also, I definitely want to talk about Mr. Ronnie James playing with his pops. We got to see how that's going to play out. You know what I mean? We got to see, is he ready for the NBA? And is he going to be the person that we're expecting? I mean, following his dad's footsteps is a big ask, but that's going to be something very interesting. Also, can we see the Lakers make that next step? You know, are they going to be competitive, or is it time to rebuild? So there's a couple of things that we may possibly go over, but I'm definitely excited to get back to basketball, especially coming around the corner and preseason starting recently.
Yeah, I think, those topics we got to talk about, especially, you know, Cat going to New York, in which, you know, hey, you know, that was a big deal. They came out really out of nowhere, but not really if you kind of look how his contract and all that stuff worked, and how New York was kind of desperate of that big market, big man in a sense. But we'll dive deep into that as well. Before we dive deep into tonight's show, you're going to hear from a couple of our sponsors and a word from IE Sports Radio as well. You're listening to Fast Break right here on IE Sports Radio. You're the referee for all sports.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the iSports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop, including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at iSports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making iSports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right. Woo! Back in the saddle things. I just got back home from Tennessee not too long ago. I didn't go to the Titans game, but out of town for family engagement on my wife's family side. So I'm ready to release some energy right now, D-Lock. But first, how you been doing, man? The people ever heard from you for a while? You doing your thing up a pit? How you doing? Talk to the people. How you doing, man?
Things are going good. I got my obviously being a track and field coach, I got my group of athletes that are doing very well. This is going to my second year, or still year and a half, shall I say, since I've been here. But they're doing pretty good. The season doesn't start really till January, so we're kind of doing fall training. First track going to be in December, but it really doesn't get started until January. So things are going pretty good. The football team is actually undefeated right now. They haven't lost yet, which is a huge thing. Have a couple big games coming up. So that's a good thing. My Bucks won today, so I'm definitely excited about that. After that crucial game we lost Thursday night last week. So that was something that was definitely needed. But other than that, man, I'm doing pretty well. I mean, I'm expecting, obviously, our volleyball team here at University of Pitt is top 2, top 3 in the nation. They're playing pretty well. I'm expecting our basketball team to be pretty good as well. Speaking of our basketball team, one of our former basketball players is actually on the Lakers roster now. So, yeah, man, I mean, I'm definitely excited to see what college sports is gonna have moving forward, being a coach, but also looking forward to the NBA season, man. I mean, Ben Carroll is looking like the top guy right now. Hell of a draft pick for us. What I want us to get, and hopefully, we can progress. Get further in the playoffs. Obviously, paying Wendell Carter all that money, which I didn't agree with, but it is what it is. So, we give money to anybody at this point. You should know about Grant Hill getting paid years back. So, the only person we didn't want to pay is Shaq, which is still mind-boggling. But things are well, man. Like I said, it's getting kind of chilly here, but me being from Florida, I'm kind of used to it. at this point.
That's awesome to hear. And we're supposed to go live last week, but we done StreamYard before, but not like the deep setup like we got to do right now. So last week we kind of like took a crash course from the founder, Larry B, how to work everything for y'all, make sure y'all get a nice smooth show here on the interwebs, all that. So we took that from last week. Now we're coming this week. The NBA season is not too far along. The WNBA season is wrapping up. Let's hop on the WNBA real quick. Let me ask you this before we talk about the WNBA Championship. How did you feel the WNBA season went? Because for me, and this is my opinion, ladies and gentlemen. Look into this camera. This is my opinion. I think the Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese stuff kind of just took away the great basketball play that we saw. I think, the think pieces, all that stuff, the comments you see on the internet, I think it kind of just took away a very good season and progressive season for the league. And, it was kind of like a good hot mess. It's a hot mess, but a very good hot mess, if that makes sense. Your thoughts on the overall, your perspective of the league this past year?
I would say that, it wasn't a bad, I think, like you said, the whole hype around Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark was a huge deal. It kind of gives me the thought of the Magic Johnson and Larry Bird comparison when that was happening, right? That was the feel that I got. Hell, if Magic and Larry were being drafted in this day and age, I think we get them talked about on social media 24/7. And I think that's what we got here with the Caitlin and the Angel Reese thing. So, I think that grew so much, and the WNBA was so geared towards that. It put a lot of pressure on both athletes, right? We see Caitlin Clark always on ESPN getting fouled like crazy because of the attention that she probably was getting, just from social medias alone. They made it seem like Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark were the reason why the WNBA is moving forward, and not giving respect to the other ones prior to them. And I think that is something that a lot of fans noticed. So for me, I think it was a hell of a season. Still is. Like I said, Liberty are playing good, especially with Minnesota in the WNBA Finals. But the Angel Reese and the Caitlin Clark comparison it clouded a lot. A lot of stuff. And I think that moving forward, maybe in 20, 30 years, we're having that same talk that we're having about Magic and Larry Bird, maybe. But again, it took so much attention from the game. I think it clouded, other players and other stats. Now, granted, both of them are hell of a players. Obviously, we see Angel Reese is still. I think she is going to numerous different events now. Clayton Clark, kind of went pretty in the playoffs. I believe Angel Reese season ended early with a season injury. So for me, it grabbed a lot of attention, but it took away of attention on the negative side as well.
Yeah, I've gotten the same boat. Like, you seen folks, using Caitlin Clark, as a vessel for their own personal agendas and stuff like that. I think, I saw things like that, and like, hey man, if you're trying to build up these ladies, cool. If you're trying to use these ladies as different vessels for whatever agenda, it's not going to help the women's game. It's not. And I think the league didn't really help at times like it should have. It took more the player association to do more towards the end of the year, as we saw, some reporters and whatnot. But I think it's like, once I sent you this message, I think, a while back when Caitlin Clark kind of, liked the picture of Taylor Swift endorsing Kamala, or, like in the post, like, Taylor Swift endorsing Kamala and all that stuff in the presidential race. And that's the whole nother damn thing right there.
Right.
Once that happened, I think a lot of that stuff kind of cooled off a little bit. The Olympic break, thank God for the Olympics, because I think it came at the right time. Also, because, okay, everybody went on break, you focus on the Olympics, and there we go right there. And I think it cooled off a lot of things right there. So for me, you got a new team come to the fold out in Golden State, the Valkyries. You got another team coming in down the line, Portland, which I think is a bad idea. But, team in Toronto, which is desperately needed, kind of international way. So you got a lot of momentum. And if we talk about, this past season in college basketball, the young women coming up, in college basketball. Juju Watkins, Paige Beckers. And I'm missing a couple of girls right now. But, those two ladies, for example. So you got a lot of momentum coming down the way. So I was wondering if this league don't want to screw themselves up on this. But the transition to the WNBA Finals, I didn't watch Game 2 today, ladies and gentlemen. I was on the road driving. Traffic was crazy from Tennessee all the way back home. But the Liberty won 80-66 against the Minnesota Lynx. And by the way, the Lynx had a very good, quiet year. Let me put that out there as well. They were consistent all year, along with the New York Liberty. I think they were more two consistent teams all year. But New York get their lick back 80-66 against the Lynx, with Breanna Stewart leading away for 21 points and 8 rebounds for her. 20 points for Lainey Hamilton as well. And 15 points for Miss Sabrina as well. D-Lock, your thoughts of the Liberty winning Game 2 and tying the series 1-1?
I mean, I think it was needed big time. I don't think Liberty can take being down 2-0 or losing Game 2. Breanna Stewart, again, we talked about earlier, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, so much attention, but we didn't talk so much about Lennox having a hell of a season. Breanna Stewart, who was obviously a top player in the league. So I think, like I said, Stewart having the game that she had, that played a huge part. Lainey Hamilton as well. And they came through in the clutch on big times. And I think that was a big thing that played a huge part. Obviously, Jonquel Jones leading in rebounds. So now you have a good, trio that can, stick with this team. And I think this is going to be a hell of a series. I mean, especially knowing what both teams possess. But I expect Breanna Stewart to take over at some point. I mean, we know her history, obviously being in college, what she's done, her being that star for so many years. I think that she'll come in the clutch moments. So I think that Liberty is going to be a team that's going to be tough to stop moving forward. But it was a hell of a game, man, and I think we got a lot more coming in this series.
Yeah, I think for New York, great bounce back game. Shoot 11-24 for 3-point land. That would help some things. And I think for them, you had this team beat last game, but you let them come back on you. So
right.
That's the main kicker right there. And now you're kind of kicking yourself like, damn, we're up 2-0. We could have been up 2-0 going to their house, in which, they could have, let's be honest, if they down 2-0, they probably win at least Game 3.
Right.
All that. So to stave off the elimination. But now, they got a chance to win the whole thing at their house. And, Minnesota, very good at home. Looking at that line real quick, 60 points for Collier, 8 rebounds for her, 14 points for Smith as well. They
Mm-hmm.
shoot pretty well from the 3-point line as well. For the Lynx, the bench really didn't give nothing much at all in terms of production. So hopefully that changed at home for them. So I think next game, Collier, Smith, get them going down low, get some things open up and pick and roll.
Mm-hmm.
Play smart basketball, and kind of use that home court to your advantage. Minnesota, since they've been in the league, one of the better home courts in the WNBA. So use that to your advantage. And kind of take advantage of this 5-game setup until they go to 7, which I don't like. I don't like that for the WNBA to go 7 games.
Not right now.
Not right now. It's like there's some things I like. They moving forward, progressing, but this right here, going to 7 games down the line, I don't like it. I don't like it in the NBA, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like it in the NBA, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the NBA, excuse me. But for the ladies, if they're trying to cash in now, hey, that's fine. But 7 games right now, we're kind of doing too much right now. Just baby steps at a time.
I definitely agree with that.
But one final word, D-Lock, before we go to our next break. Wednesday, series tie 1-1. Who do you got winning game 3?
Well, this is going to be a tight game. I think, right now, looking at it, having the over-under at 160, I think. I mean, again, I know what Breanna Stewart is, and I think that she's going to take over at some point. I think she makes her statement here. I think the Liberty get this one here. I think this is the one that makes a difference. Obviously, it being in Minnesota and them having that run, I think Breanna Stewart is too much.
Okay. I'll go the other side. I'm going with the Lynx. I think one thing with the Liberty that always kind of happens to them, and I think if they're going to win, I think Sabrina, I always butcher her name in this, so if you see this, Miss Sabrina, don't jump on my neck. But Sabrina Ionescu, if she has a quiet game, then granted, hey, Stewart, Jones could have big games, whatever. They can offset that. But sometimes when she disappears, and she don't step up to the plate in the next couple games, then the Lynx, I won't say they walk to the championship, but I think they could win it.
Mm-hmm.
But I got the Lynx winning game 3 at home with that loud crowd there.
Ooh, I mean, this is gonna be a big game. It's game 3. I think whoever wins this game wins the title. So we're definitely gonna check this out big time and see how this play out, because somebody got to take the victory.
Yeah, somebody got to take the victory there, and we'll see how things go on Wednesday night. One more thing before I head to the break real quick. Do you agree with the WNBA going back to Portland?
I think eventually. I don't think so, not yet. I think, you got the Trailblazers there, the NBA. Not a fan, of WNBA going there. I think there's other cities that they can definitely check out over Portland, in my mind. So, if they do decide to move it there, we have to deal. But I don't know. I mean, I think there's other cities that they can check out that would have a huge fan base. And I think if they do check out those other cities, that may have not had a team. And I think you may have a different fan. Like, I ain't gonna lie, like I really hope a team will come to Central Florida like Tampa or Orlando or something like that. That's me being biased, but I mean, if you can do that, I mean, I think that'll do wonders. You know what I mean? So there's other cities that they can check out, and Portland, obviously, we know what that brings to the table, but I think that they should look at other cities prior to going back to Portland.
Yeah, I think a little too soon for Portland. And last time they did Portland, I think it's just kind of like, it wasn't too hot, and it kind of folded real quickly. So we'll see how things are next time around. Go around for Portland, and we'll see how things go for the second time around for the city. Where they can support it, where they're going to elevate it, all that stuff. We'll see. But like you mentioned about other cities, Nashville comes to mind. Going back to Houston comes to mind. Upper you have Pittsburgh. Maybe get some basketball action going around that area again.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of cities you can look at and try to maximize and stuff like that. Could they go back and throw Orlando? You had the Orlando Soul back there back in the day before they moved up to Connecticut, and where they are today. So this, Miami. So it was Orlando something. I can't remember what it was.
I'm gonna double check on that, but I think it was somewhere around there.
Yeah. So this, I think just like I saw the Portland thing. It's like So when we come back from the other side of this break, we're going to dive into our NBA expectations. That means, hey, the New York Knicks, they got Karl-Anthony Towns. What does Bronny bring to the table with the LA Lakers? And same with the LA Lakers, what does JJ Redick do year one? Philly or Paul George? Can Giannis have a bounce back year? And so forth. Wembanyama in year two. Can the Jokic reclaim the best in the league? So we're gonna take a quick break, and we'll check out back on the other side.
Hey sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Wine About Sports, a show where we talk about wine and sports simultaneously. From the classic Cabernet Sauvignon all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
good, everyone? It's Drewski, the host of Heart of Texas Sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. On this station, we cover everything in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area. From where we cover the Dallas Cowboys, the Dallas Stars, Dallas Mavericks, Dallas Wings, Texas Rangers, TCU, SMU, we cover it all right here every Wednesdays from 9 to 10 p.m. Central Time. Make sure you stay live with me on the Heart of Texas Sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back. You're listening to Fast Break right here on IE Sports Radio. Your direct feed for all that is sports. Excuse me, I'll get my words right here. Here on the other side of our break, here to talk about our expectations of the NBA season. I know normally we usually do the season previews about divisions and stuff like that and go break down by team. You know, this season, I kind of thought like nobody really changed that much if you really think about it. Like we can easily hey, talk about the Northwest Division and then just break down everything. Hey. You know, Nuggets didn't lose. I mean, they lost KCP, but I mean, you know, they had a Russ, and we could talk about that. But they look at Portland.
Yeah,
you know, they ain't changed a damn thing except for draft picks. You know, they've selected. Same thing with OKC. I mean, yeah, they added Isaiah Hartenstein and sent a couple guys, but you know, it is what it is. You know. I mean, some teams did change, but you know, it's just like
not no big difference.
Like nobody made big differences and stuff like that. So we'll just kind of do this right here. So D-Lock, I'll let you go first. You know, what's your expectations for going to the NBA season in your mind?
Well, I'll start off with my Orlando Magic first. I expect consistency. And what I mean by that is, you know, I think Banchero, we've seen what he can be. But we also seen what Franz Wagner is without Banchero. You know, adding KCP was a big thing. I did send you that so-called comment that KCP said about this is the best team he's ever played that want to play defense. Which I think is bullshit. But he's just talking. He's in Orlando and he's probably at Disney World every weekend, so which is cool. But I expected him to be more competitive, more consistent. I think, you know, now Banchero is coming into his own. I think you build around this guy. I think this is your player that you build around. Paying Wendell Carter that money is still a head scratcher. But you know, let's see if they can put, you know, consistent wins together. You know, be more competitive in the East. We know what Milwaukee brings. Obviously know what Boston brings. But I think Orlando Magic make a huge leap. I also am going to make a bold statement that I think Miami Heat take a step back. I think the Jimmy Butler thing is a huge head scratcher as well. And I believe him and Pat Riley probably had some words in this offseason. I'm not expecting them to be just what the Miami Heat that we're used to. So for me, I think the East is going to be competitive. I think that the Knicks, we're going to see a Knicks team that we haven't seen since the 90s. You know, you adding Mikal Bridges. You're adding Karl Anthony Towns, which is a huge pickup. That's somebody that they needed, I guess, big time. You got Jalen Brunson, who's playing out of his mind last year. You add in, Mikal Bridges. These guys have played together for, even through college. And you bring in a big man like Karl Anthony Towns. Like, he's not the greatest defender, clearly we've seen that in Minnesota, but I think he brings something that they did not have. Now you got a guy that can grab boards and shoot the three if needed. So they can spread the floor with this guy. So I think this could be that big move that the Knicks, at Madison Square Garden, probably been looking for to pair with Jalen Brunson. So I think the East is going to be something to watch out for. The Celtics, I think, are clearly at the top. They're going to be a team that's going to be hard to watch out for. And my interesting thing for the East is going to see what Milwaukee does with Giannis and Dame Lillard. Now that you guys have an all season together, hell, I think Chris Middleton is already limping to the season. So yeah, I think if I remember correctly, I seen a tweet already saying that he's out for a while already. So it's just like, damn, okay.
I gotta check that. Let me check that.
Yeah, double check. But I'm almost positive. I've seen something that said Chris Middleton is gonna be out for some time. So or he has some type of injury. So, but I want to see how Dame and Giannis fits together. I think these two can work, but how? We haven't seen this pair in a long time. A dominant power forward / small forward with 8-point guard that can shoot from damn near anywhere. So I really want to see how this pans out. Like I said, I think the East is going to be a little bit more competitive. Also, obviously, Philly has, gotten Paul George. Let's see what Philly does with this other move. It's been talks about, and I'm one of the people that clearly have been trying to hear an answer since Ben Simmons has been gone. They blamed Ben Simmons a while back. The Hawks lost. But he's gone. They still haven't got to the NBA Finals. So what is it? So now that you go from Ben Simmons to James Harden, now you got Tyrese Maxey, and now you add Paul George.
Yeah.
What does the Philadelphia 76ers do now? Joel Embiid is when got an Olympic gold medal. Hopefully that motivates him. He's around LeBron's, Steph Curry, and these guys. He can take that leadership and pour into his team. So I think the East is going to be very competitive expectation-wise. The West, you know what? I think this is going to be possibly a drop back. I want to see what the Dallas Mavericks do.
Yeah.
They're very young. Adding the pieces that they did, obviously Klay Thompson. I think that is a huge piece. They got shooters everywhere. We've seen what happens when Luka can take over the game for a half, and then Kyrie does it. But now you got you a shooter also, invested as well. So I want to see how that pans out for the Dallas Mavericks. Is this the end for the Golden State Warriors? We've seen that long run. Do we see Draymond get traded? Do we see Steph have to figure this out on his own? You know what I mean? So it's a lot of things that play a huge part. And my biggest question is, how in the hell is Jokic and Russ going to fit together? I mean, I really want to see how this pair is going to work. Obviously with Jamal Murray in the mixture, but for a guy that is huge on rebounds, for a guy that shoots so damn much with a low percentage in shooting, pairing with Jokic is going to be very interesting to me. So that's something that I have interest in. And also, do we see Anthony Edwards take that leap? We've seen that growth. We've seen what he's going to continue to do. And Netflix has that. I believe I sent it to you. Netflix has that series coming out. I ain't gonna lie, man. I think I just seen the introduction for Anthony Edwards. That shit looks crazy. It looks very interesting. So I'm gonna definitely be dialed in. Do we see? What do we see last for me? And I'll let you take it. What do we see from the Lakers? Right? Bronny James there. Obviously his dad is who his dad is. The last time I ever recall a son and father playing together was Ken Griffey Jr. and Sr. So now that you see this, do we see Bronny James take that leap and be that next one up, next man up? Preseason hasn't been going too well for him right now. I think he's still in that development stage a little bit, but it's going to be very interesting to see what happens, man. I mean, do the Lakers literally compete for a championship, or are they in a situation where they're letting LeBron play with his son? How does that match? How does that develop into? How does that work for them going for an NBA title? So this NBA season, man, it has a lot of head scratchers. I didn't even talk about the Timberwolves with Julius Randle. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of stuff that this NBA season is going to have. I'm very interested, but if I had to say now, early, I would say Boston repeats. I think that team, that core, once you get over that hump, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, these guys, I don't see anybody in the West beating them right now.
All right. Well, and I want to shout out to the chat. Shout out to Larry B in the chat. Shout out to Tyron Rodriguez. Yes, next week is 200 episodes with the both of us. So perfect segue, to kind of get more heavy into the our predictions and stuff like that. But this is kind of like an appetizer in a sense. Shout out to Maki Two Guns, because he brought up a point I've been thinking about for a good minute, but also kind of ties in with the Knicks as well. But let me get the bottom feeders out the way. Let me get these teams out the way. Charlotte Hornets, the Washington Wizards, the Detroit Pistons, the Chicago Bulls, the Portland Trailblazers. I feel like I'm missing somebody.
I wouldn't say. I was about to say the Pelicans, but not yet.
They on watch.
Yes.
The Toronto Raptors, the Brooklyn Nets. Mm-hmm. Let's see. All those teams I just named, it's kind of like in part like, damn, they really didn't do nothing. So why talk about them like that? But let me get these teams out the way. They ain't gonna do nothing. I'm looking at this camera. They ain't gonna do nothing. So, Scotty Barnes, I think he'll I hope he takes a leap, but he seemed like he got priorities. I still can't believe he did what he did, getting that old lady pregnant. I mean, she's about our age, but you get what I'm saying.
We old.
But,
exactly.
I mean, she's our age, but just the age difference. But anyways, the Hornets. I know LaMelo Ball's coming back, but for how long? How long do they kind of recognize kind of turn team over to Brandon Miller?
Yeah.
The Wizards and the Blazers, they're probably competing to see who picks Cooper Flag. Let's be real about that. The Pistons, I'm glad that Bickerstaff got another coaching job after they jettisoned Monty Williams. So I'm happy about that. My thing with them is like, Kay Cunningham, can you stay healthy to elevate this team to at least 30 wins or so? That's my thing. And then the Chicago Bulls, real quick. It's like they want to be good, but the roster sucks. I love the kid they drafted in the first round. We talked about in the show about a few months ago. I love the kid. Mm-hmm. His name is Casey right now. But, you still got Levine. You still got Vooch on big contracts. So, I don't know what Chicago going to do, to be honest with you. But now I got Tamaki, yeah, is Lonzo still injured? No, he's back, but with him and his injury history, we don't know how long it's going to be. So, can he stay healthy and have a breakout year? Sure. Is the expectations there? I don't know. They got a new coach there. So that's really intriguing right there for Charlotte. Steve Clifford finally gone. That's a positive. None against the man, but, why go the retail route? And all that stuff. So I got all the ball affairs out the way in a sense. There. Real quickly. Let me go east real quick. Cat getting traded to the Knicks was the big move that I think we were going to talk heavy on last week, but never really get a chance to.
Yep.
D-Lock, I don't know how it is going to be with the New York market. I don't know. Because the Minnesota, I mean, he really like people expecting him to be this certain player, but lucky for him, he's in Minnesota, so you can hide there.
Right.
It's not LA. It's not Chicago. Not Philly. Boston too. But now you're in New York, the Mecca.
Mm-hmm.
So, to Mikey's question, did the Knicks give up to get Bridges and Cat? We'll see. And go back to what Mikey said earlier. The Celtics is a team I got a chance to win the NBA championship. They kept everybody, re-signed everybody. Drew Holiday, Derek White had great runs on Team USA. Contribute very well for Team USA. I love the style they play. They played great for Team USA. Will Jaylen Brown, making that big issue and stuff like that, not get selected when Kawhi Leonard decides to peace out. I'll talk about him in a second. But, I think the Celtics keep everybody in the fold. I think you got to have them at least 1A or 1B on your NBA championship Mount Rushmore to win this year. Now, I'm going to make a bold prediction here, D-Lock. I see the Knicks versus the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Ooh.
I'm going there right now.
I'm not mad at that.
Because I think, before they did the Cat trade, I think they added some decent pieces to kind of combat the Celtics. And I think why I got these two teams back and, got these two teams in the Eastern Conference Finals, because you look at it. You got Cat to kind of, match up with Porzingis when he's healthy. You got a nice, good selection in guards and Bruss and Josh Hart, in the fall as well. Mikal Bridges makes a world of difference, guarding Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum in key situations. Losing DiVincenzo is going to hurt. There's no bones about that. No bones about that. But, I think New York has done well enough to kind of like, okay, Celtics, we see y'all, and we match y'all here with Bridges and Cat. Mm-hmm. What now? What now? Now, the teams on the outside of it, Philly, Milwaukee, they had something to say. Having Paul George there, could that make a world difference to the Sixers? Yes. But I think we all know it kind of depends, how far Embiid takes them. Let's be real.
Yeah.
And like you said about, about the Olympic rub, can he kind of use that momentum to kind of, push his team to at least the Eastern Finals and to the finals? The one thing Embiid got an advantage over Cat and Porzingis. I love Al Horford, but he's getting older. And then, you had the retirement talk, all that stuff as well. One thing he got an advantage over them, he could dominate them. He could bully them. He get them in foul trouble.
Right.
And yes, the injury concerns with Embiid and George. That's injury concerns with them. But, you can say they about Porzingis in Boston. You can say, in New York, how well are those guys in New York going to hold up with Tom Thibodeau coaching? That's another thing right there.
Plays them the whole game. They could be blowing the team out. They getting all 40 minutes.
And that's another thing you got. If you're a New York fan, you gotta be wary on. Like, yeah, we make all these moves, but can Thibodeau find a balance to get to the Eastern Conference matchup that I got them penciled in?
Mm-hmm.
So, that's another thing you got to expect. Milwaukee year 2 with Doc Rivers, how that's going to look. You're talking about Chris Middleton, his injury. They say he might play. October 17th. We'll see. But it's just like
it's the beginning of the season.
Middleton's a walking wounded. I think Giannis, he's probably refreshed. Lillard, I hope his personal stuff is behind him. The bench, kind of sus and all that stuff. So I think Milwaukee would be in the top 4, top 5, but do I see him making to the at least the Eastern Conference? I don't see that. I don't see that at all. Real quick, let me go west here before time goes out. Chris Paul is going to make a world of difference for Victor Wembanyama this year.
Agree.
It sucks that Chris ain't 5 years younger, but I think he's going to make a world of difference for Victor Wembanyama. And I think if you're the Spurs, I think they know this already, but they got to find a true playmaker at point guard. Who that would be, I don't know. But I think they could use this year with Chris Paul in the fold to kind of find what they need to kind of get Victor to that next level, in my humble opinion. I'm interested to see what Klay Thompson does with the Mavericks. He's been off for the past couple years. I kind of interested to see how he looks with this squad. And can he find his mojo? Like, can he find his mojo back in Dallas with this new squad?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one thing to kind of keep an eye on there. Phoenix, how they look in year 2 with those 3 guys: KD, Bill, Devin Booker. Booker and KD come off the Olympic gold. Bradley Beal getting scrutinized and all that stuff. How they going to look and all that stuff, come the season. I'm really interested to see how the things go. And if things don't go well, do they blow it up? That's the thing to kind of keep an eye on. Going to the Lakers real quick. Me personally, they're going to have to, I'm going to get the Bronny stuff out the way first. They're going to have that moment early in the season. They're going to have that moment, Bronny playing for a few minutes on the court. They're going to have that moment early in the season. Me personally, and we said this in the show multiple times, Bronny either should stay at USC or transfer to a premier program in college basketball for at least another year. Where was that? Alabama, Kansas, stay with Musselman at USC, Holler at Cal at Arkansas, whatever. He should make that move. I don't think going to the NBA like this is just want the move for him.
Right.
And, to ask the Mike's question, yeah, they'll play, but it's not going to be a whole lot this year. And then to kind of transition to the Lakers. I'm curious to see how JJ D-Lock progresses with his team. What can he do different that Darvingham didn't? And I know some people are going to say, oh, he's going to use timeouts. He's going to scheme all that stuff, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's easy to say. But as the season progresses along, if he ain't doing what Darvingham didn't do differently, then what's the point of switching coaches?
Right.
You know, it's easy like for, when we kind of like saw shades of LeBron talking about it, it's easy for LeBron to come home and talk shit on him, all that stuff. Excuse my language, all that stuff. But can JJ come in and do different? That's just my thing. And staying in LA, by the way, on the other side of the locker room. Well, the new own arena, by the way, excuse me, the Clippers. I don't think the Clippers make the playoffs, man.
Ooh.
Cool. We talk about that Kawhi video showing up at Team USA and him limping. And I know they say he had a procedure done, all that stuff. And that roster, PJ Tucker already said he's walking away for a little bit. I love Kobe Brown, North Alabama guy. Shout out to Huntsville. But I just look at this roster as like lost Paul George. It's nothing there right now. There's nothing there. And I think the thing that's going to hurt them is like Steve Ballmer's a guy, as we've seen in the past, don't like rebuilds. Ever since he got this team, he wants these teams to compete year in and year out. And if Kawhi ain't healthy, I think this is the season that you kind of get that wake up. He gets that reality wake up call, and may have to consider some things. I mean, just a thought right there, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, I'm looking at that roster.
And lastly, before we get out of here, I gotta go to Denver real quick. Can Jokic and company kind of bounce back? Minnesota, they kind of took him to the brink. Anthony Edwards, like you mentioned, kind of arrived in a sense. He still got some work to do. But can Jokic, Jamal Murray, and Michael Porter regroup themselves, along with Mike Malone, who seemed like having some issues with the front office, Calvin Booth and those guys? Can they kind of like regroup and kind of get back to that form they won the championship a couple years ago? That's another team I'm kind of looking at like they drafted pretty well. They're kind of banking on some of these young guys to replace the production of KCP. So I'm kind of interested to see how the different Nuggets will look in this upcoming NBA season. And how Russ will look with his second team going to the season.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how that works out, for the Nuggets as well. The Timberwolves getting Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo, I think they will help out with them for a good bit. I think the spacing is going to take some time to work through. And I also say this about Julius Randle real quick, D-Lock. I think he was kind of on borrowed time with the Knicks. I think they're kind of tired of him. If he came back and played well, and he played well, but I think if they found the right deal, like we saw, happened earlier this month,
right?
They shipped him out. So, like I said, I think he was on borrowed time with the Knicks. With the injuries and all that stuff and production, he was on borrowed time. He gets shipped to Minnesota, get another fresh start with them. You had to give up DiVincenzo, so that sucks. But I think with Minnesota, can you do some damage with them? or do you ship Randall off if things don't work out well for something else? And I think that's another thing, you got to think about. Yeah, Mikey. Yeah, Mikey. Going back to the trade, Mark Smart trade last year. Yeah, I mean, sometimes kind of go back, last year in a sense. Yeah, sometimes teams get stagnant. You got to make moves.
Mm-hmm.
New York, kind of got stagnant with Julius Randle. Got to make a move. The Sixers with cap space. I mean, Maxey and B are nice, but you feel like you got to add somebody. You can't be stagnant.
They're not doing enough. Yeah, those two are not doing enough. They needed more.
The Magic. Adding KCP. You kind of feel like you need another wing out there because some of these young guys you're kind of trying to bank on.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't really step up to the plate like you wanted yet. So why not get a veteran right there to kind of cushion the blow right now? The Hawks, they tried it out with Trae Young, Dejounte Murray. I thought it'd be perfect, but it didn't work out. So you got to shake it up. He's in New Orleans now, where they desperately needed a point guard there. And we'll see how things go with them. But I think sometimes, especially in basketball, you got to shake things out. Got to shake it out. Got to shake it out. Got to shake it out. And then he said, "Are the Hawks gonna be good or bad this year?" I don't know about the Hawks, man. What you think about the Hawks?
I mean,
I can't get a good read on them.
No, I mean the thing with DeJounte Murray and is it Griffin I had sent you? I think he said he's retiring or he's focusing on being a Christian.
No, I think they shipped him to the Rockets.
Okay.
But yeah, he's
out. But I mean, to me, the Hawks are going to be fine. I got to double check their roster because I got to think about who they have. But again, I believe that this is going to be one of the years that the East is going to be pretty much deeper than what we've seen in the past. I think that the Hawks may be in that situation where, they had Trae Young and DeJounte Murray, it didn't work, but now you're kind of in the rebuild mode. You got Larry Nance, but also on UK, they need to figure out him and Clint Capella. Like at some point, I believe somebody has to be moved. Trying to get both of those guys in minutes, I don't think that works. I think that you have one guy that needs to get the bulk of the minutes. You going to get Dyson Dang obviously in that trade. Bogdanovich, remember we talked about him years ago. With this signing,
stealing money.
Yeah, I think that we got to see how that plays out. But I think the Hawks are in that situation where they're going to be at the bottom of the East in my eyes. Now the biggest question is, do they move Trae Young? And if so, to who? I don't think that they want to, but this is when you're in I see this team going into the rebuilding stage soon. Trae Young could be that piece if I just don't, for some reason, I'm not buying him being there. Like you said, shaking things up. I'm starting to feel like Trae Young may be on his way out of Atlanta as well. So for me, I think the Hawks are in that situation where they're going to be battling, for that top pick once again, because again, you don't know what you're doing with Clint Capella and on UK, and then obviously Jalen Johnson, I think, is probably going to be the main focus of this team. But now you got Larry Nance, you're throwing him in with Clint Capella and UK, like, what the hell? So for me, which is a head scratcher, being the fact that we seen this team being competitive in the playoffs just a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
like that's the part that kind of gets me, kind of has me questioning, like scratching my head, because like you had your pieces, right? So why don't you add on to that instead of now you're kind of throwing in other roadblocks that kind of is throwing the chemistry up. So, but again, now you move pieces, and now you're in the East. I think you're going to be one of the teams at the bottom. So I don't know. I don't I'm kind of out on the Hawks, especially with the Magic making the move that they're making, playing better. They're probably going to be in the mix with the Wizards, man, to be honest with you. I mean, my problem with them is it's the minutes thing. I mean, DeAndre Hunter is going to be who he's going to be. But with Larry Nance, Onyeka, and Clint Capella, you got a lot of chemistry that you're going to be, like throwing around there. Now, does Trae Young take all the shots? I believe so. But Bogdanovich, we've seen, is played better off the bench in my eyes. I don't think he's a starting guard, shooting guard. I don't think he's a starting two guard. I think he's one of the guys that you put coming off the bench.
Yeah, I think, to kind of wrap this up, I think it's like the Hawks is like they had the first overall pick with the kid Zachary with Shear. I'm kind of interested to see how he plays and stuff like that with the squad, and what's his development. And then if he shows promise and Trae Young, if the team, like Mikey said, the season goes out of the way, they become sellers at the trade deadline and whatnot, and Trae Young gets shipped off to God knows where. So I don't know what about the Hawks. Like you mentioned, like a lot of veterans, they paying high money, but they kind of just middle right now. Right. Like they'll be in playoff contention in the play-in, but to be in the top 8, I don't see that for the Hawks right now. Could be wrong. They got Quinn Snyder there, who's done a lot more or less, but we'll see how things go. We'll see how things go for them in the upcoming season. But this has been our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Got a lot in here tonight. Thank you for tuning in with us here for Fast Break on iSports Radio. Your direct feed for all that is sports. D-Lock, how can people find you on social media?
You guys find me at BlackDash3 on Twitter/X. Let them know where you can find you in the show page.
You can find the show's page. But first, follow me on Twitter at Spawn4288. That's Spawn4288. Also, if you saw my name in the header right there in the show, The Crooks Process, do follow that on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok as well. That's another show I do on the side. I'll talk other topics, outside of basketball on there. So do follow me on those platforms there. Also, do check out the show's page on Twitter/X, what you want to call it, at Fastbreak at IESR. That's Fastbreak IESR. Also, do check out iSportsRadio.com for all your latest shows, news, and feeds and stuff like that, where you get showtimes for all the shows on major markets and other shows talk about direct sports. So, volleyball, baseball is in its final legs. NASCAR kind of winding down. Hockey, say, hey, we're in the same boat, kind of starting at the same time. Our hockey show, I think they see this out week 4 of the NBA. So do check out iSportsRadio.com. You get all those times of stuff. But till then, ladies and gentlemen, we talk to y'all next week. Peace. Sorry for the overrun.